Hey, everybody. More Life and Times with George Washington. And we've kind of got into the aspect of Washington's early career here in the Revolution as a general, of course, but it's not so much as like the heroic man in the middle of the battlefield. He's been more of the man at the desk trying to find ways to support his army. In the winter of 1777, George Washington wrote something he rarely admitted out loud. And he wrote, "I have almost ceased to hope." Now, this wasn't for, this wasn't despair just for effect. It was a report. Morale within the Continental Army was collapsing. The men were hungry. They were barefoot, unpaid, and you had victories in the past like Trenton and Princeton that had lifted the spirits of the soldiers briefly, and then the reality of a soldier's life returned. And Washington understood morale as it wasn't a feeling. Morale was more of I guess a resource would be a proper way to describe it. And when the morale of the men failed, men deserted. Units effectively stopped functioning, and orders from commanding officers began to lose their meaning. So Washington worked at improving morale directly. He adjusted encampments to reduce things like exposure to the elements. He pressed Congress harder, not for his own glory, but for coats for his men and for making sure they get paid. He rewarded officers who held units together when they were all under pressure. He tolerated grumbling longer than many would have expected, because silence would have meant men had already left. Washington also learned what morale could not fix. It couldn't replace food. It could not substitute for shoes. It couldn't erase the terrible winter weather. And encouragement without supplies only just deepened the resentment of the soldiers. And this was, like I talked about, that razor's edge he walked in a past episode. This is where he was walking. If you push too hard, the men broke. If you push too softly, then the army just it would dissolve. So morale as a force wasn't inspiration. Improving morale was about maintenance. And when Washington wrote that he had almost ceased to hope, he wasn't like surrendering to the moment. He's naming the danger that he saw very clearly so he could keep the army together just through this winter, just one fragile day at a time.